Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in for the big reveal of 2023's Beach Sweep Report. My name is Cindy Ziff. I'm Executive Director of Clean Ocean Action. And just a little bit of brief history before we get into the really interesting details of the data. Beach Sweeps was founded in 1985, and it's a great way for folks to give back to the ocean. That brings them so much joy, and of course to give those beaches a nice clean sweep, and in doing so collect valuable data that we can then use to drive public policies and actions that can reduce the sources of that terrible litter that's not only ugly but is also lethal and very harmful to marine life. Over the years, the Beach Sweeps has had many titles. First it was called a Debris-a-thon, and then a Trash Attack, and then a Trash Bash. But we settled on the Beach Sweeps, and since the early 90s have been growing the focus on data, on collecting the data. So we do have a really good, robust data set, and have therefore not only the beach sweepers out there, the volunteers giving back to the ocean, but again, they're becoming citizen scientists, and more state and federal agencies are finding value in citizen science. And so we have been growing other citizen science programs as well. But the data that's collected has maintained its consistency because we've been using basically the same data card for a few decades now. So we're able to look for trends. And it is really just kind of a very fun and something that folks look forward to. And these reports are then used by not only by the media, but also by schools and other groups to sort of really look at what's washing up on our beaches and how we can all individually make a difference. In addition to our expansion of programs using the data card itself, we now have it available in Spanish, and we also included a Spanish registration for this year. We've been increasing locations over the years, and we've been really trying to focus on reducing our waste, our use of materials during the beach sweeps. We have the data cards, for example, which are printed on recycled paper. We've been really working on reducing our footprint for the event, and several years ago we introduced the Bucket Brigade, which is inviting people to bring buckets of their own to again reduce the number of plastic bags that we're needing to use. So this year, which is presenting last year's data, the 2023 event, the Beach Sweeps, had a little bit of a challenge to it. It was we had two events that had somewhat inclement weather, and it caused a little bit of a challenge in us looking at the data. So we put our best team on it, and I'm here to share with you how the data was evaluated because of those inclement weather events. Is Dr. Swarna Muthu-Christian, who is our Water Quality Research Director, and she's going to give you an overview to give you the context of the data, and then we'll turn it over to Kira to present the actual report. But it's important for you to have sort of the context of how the data was evaluated. So I'll turn it over to you, Swarna.
Thank you, Cindy. Good afternoon, everyone. And as Cindy said, this year we have modified the presentation of data. There's a reason for that. Both events, the spring and the fall sweep event this year, had inclement weather impacts. As a result, we had a much lower volunteer turnout, like 60% lower, for example, from the previous year. And consequently, the debris data that was collected was also significantly lower. However, in order to truly reflect the snapshot, and also uphold the scientific rigor with which we collect these data through our volunteers, we decided to evaluate the data in a slightly different context. So the data this year is shown as an estimate of items that have been removed per volunteer. So in doing that, we did observe that this sort of allows for consistency of data sets over the seasons. It allows for consistency across the categories, and it also allows for a comparison with the previous year. We did not want to do the trend analysis based on just the numerical totals because it was not scientifically comparable for the same reasons. And there are also some specific plastic categories that are relevant to existing Single-Use Plastic Act law in the state of New Jersey, which we try to summarize, and Kira and others will be speaking more on that, and Kira is going to be showing you a lot more of the slides. Over to you, Kira.
Great. Well, let me just introduce Kira quickly. Kira is our Marine Debris Free Sea Coordinator. That's a big title, but it's a big ocean and it's a big problem. And Kira has been leading the beach sweeps since last year from a statewide perspective. So she coordinates all the volunteers up and down the shore with an assist from Tony Grote, our South Jersey coordinator. But here to do the big reveal, who has looked at every data, all the beach sweeps reports from the beach captains in great detail, and has logged all the information and crunched all the numbers, is Kira Cruz. So we'll turn it over to Kira for the big reveal.
Thank you, Cindy. And thank you everyone that's here today as we talk about the data highlights from 2023. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties with having the slideshow up right now, so I'm going to read you some of the cumulative numbers since 1985. So we've had over 8.4 million pieces of debris collected since 1985, and 169,675 volunteers have volunteered nearly 1 million hours. In 2023, we had over 170,000 pieces of debris picked up by 3,664 dedicated volunteers. As you just heard from Swarna, the volunteer numbers were down by 40%. And lastly, the top 3 items found on the beach in 2023 were plastic bottle caps lids, food, candy wrappers and bags, and plastic pieces. Kiki, are we able to get the slides up at all?
No, I shared it with you so that you are a host so that you can share it because my computer's freezing.
So let me bear with us.
Sorry, everyone. Just those wonderful technological glitches that only how you practice and you do it several times in advance. But of course, at the moment, the gremlins step up and present some excitement.
All right, I just have to share my screen and then we'll be good to go. All right, everyone can see
Super.
the first slide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna get to the right slide. Okay, so this is what I just talked about with the cumulative numbers since 1985, and then this bottom box is the numbers from 2023. Okay, so
Kira, sorry,
yes.
Can you go back to that slide one?
Of course.
I don't, the first one, just back one slide. That's good. That's good.
Okay, sorry, it's not. Oh, here we go. There we go.
Great. Just so people can
Capture this.
yes. Exactly.
Okay.
So we're getting close to 1 million hours of volunteers out there doing this good work. So it's really impressive.
Hopefully this year we get to that 1 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving right along. All right. So the information from the chart above is reflected on page 4 of the report. As you can see, the comparison of items removed per volunteer from 2022 to 2023 is very similar, even with 2023 having such inclement weather, which resulted in those fewer volunteers and fewer pieces of debris removed compared to previous years. Also seen in this chart are a few items that had no changes at all between 2022 and 2023. Looking at the data from this point of view was fascinating. I'm a data nerd, so it was very cool to see and dive more deeper into, as it shows this clear correlation between the years. Okay, the Get Past Plastic Law went into effect in 2021 for straws and in 2022 for bags and foam containers. After analyzing 2023's data, we found some interesting trends when looking at the numbers per volunteer. Store shopping bags were the only item that had a decrease in numbers removed per volunteer from 2022 to 2023. This piece of data is significant, showing there are even less plastic bags being found. Both plastic straws and foam plastic had slight differences in the removal per volunteer. As such, Clean Ocean Action is not suggesting any trends related to the implementation of the law with the 2023 data. There's more detail on these numbers in the report at the bottom of page 4. All right. Here we have the 2023 data percent breakdown by category, which can be found on page 7 in the report. Plastic, including foam, continues to hold the highest percentages. In 2023, a little over 79% of debris consisted of both plastic categories. Of note, this is the first time since 2015 we've seen the categories of both plastic and foam plastic below 80%. However, again, Clean Ocean Action is not suggesting any trends with the 2023 data. The Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen lists the worst offenders of marine litter, aka the top 12 commonly collected items at the beach sweeps. It's amazing to see which items are consistent in the Dirty Dozen. However, as we entered year 2 of the Get Past Plastic Law, we were curious how the 3 items under the law would rank. As stated earlier, plastic bags appear to be in slight decline and continue to steer clear of the Dirty Dozen list. Straws swapped spots with foam pieces for number 5 and number 6 on the list. Another Dirty Dozen item to spotlight is metal beverage cans. They appear on the list at number 10 for 2023 after seeing a consistent track record at number 16 over the last few years. The last time that metal beverage cans were on this list was back in 2008. Okay, the 2023 roster of ridiculous. There's always something for everyone on this roster, even if it doesn't make sense. Every year, the list of wacky finds continues to grow. In 2023, COA hosted a roster of ridiculous photo contests for both the spring and the fall. Perhaps from a result of the photo contest, we had a plethora of unusual items listed on data cards from our volunteers. The winners are highlighted on page 11 of the report. Some of our favorites from 2023 include a couch, a pink painted palette, which is pictured in the top left, a Valentine's Day chocolate box, a 2019 National World Series Cup, a dictionary, a computer router, a yarmulke, a Halloween hair tie, a 1960s toy dinosaur, a 2017 Brigantine beach tag, a tire pressure gauge, an 8x10 area rug, a martini glass, patio cushions, a rubber shark, and a whoopee cushion, just to name a few. Check out page 5 of the annual report to see more. And with that, that's a wrap for our 2023 data highlights. Thank you so much for your undivided attention and amongst our little glitches. Next door, we will hear from COA's policy attorney, Erica Bosak, who will talk about how we use the data in action.
Thanks so much, Kira. Yeah, so the really unique thing about beach sweeps, as Cindy and others have said, is this data piece, which we use directly in our policy work. So it's used to illustrate the extent of the plastic pollution in the region, as you can see on the slide, and that helps us show the need for different actions. So this is just a list of some of the plastic policies we're working on right now. For example, considering a bottle bill and other forms of extended producer responsibility, such as reducing plastic and also potentially cardboard, so that less plastic and other litter generating materials are manufactured and less is ending up in the oceans. Because while we have a lot of fun doing this, we would love to have it not be necessary sometime in the future. Another campaign is Skip the Stuff, which is a series of local ordinances right now that essentially requires food service establishments and restaurants when on their takeout platforms to provide an option for consumers to not opt out of getting the plastic utensils and condiment packets that often end up as litter, instead of opting out of receiving those items or automatically receiving them, which is even worse. Consumers would be required to opt in, so they would only be available upon request or potentially outright banned. Then we also had Kira Cruz, who you've just heard from, testify in support of a New York City local law. And that actually was successful in getting enacted and should be going into effect sometime in the late spring or early summer of this year. And that's going to allow reusable water bottles in sports arenas made of aluminum or stainless steel to also reduce the plastic bottles that end up at the end of these large events where people obviously need to stay hydrated, but a lot of trash is generated as a result. We're also working on balloon bills and local ordinances to prevent balloons from being intentionally released. We're also a member of the Mid-Atlantic Regional Council and the Mid-Atlantic Committee on the Ocean Marine Debris Work Group, which was instrumental in achieving this Mid-Atlantic Marine Debris Action Plan, which we're also a member of, and that is effective from 2021 to 2026. It's a series of actions that we're taking to educate folks about the plastic problem and get actions done to reduce plastic on the policy side. The beach sweeps data is also really important for showing the success of the Get Past Plastic law, which, to give a little bit more detail, is a complete ban on plastic bags that went into effect in May of last year, 2022. I'm sorry, so May of 2022. And the law also makes it so that straws are only able to be given upon request of the customer. That provision went into effect a little earlier than the plastic bag ban, but in the 2022 beach sweeps, which I've been using for a lot of reasons, and a lot of meetings with elected officials and other environmental groups to show the success of the Get Past Plastic law, we saw a sharp decrease in those covered items, which includes single-use plastic bags, straws, and foam takeout containers, and other foam food service containers. And that helps defend against, I'm not sure if you all were familiar with the study that came out, and I should use study in air quotes, because it was funded by the American Recyclable Plastic Bag Alliance, which profits from the propagation of single-use plastic bags. The study claimed that the plastic bag ban had backfired, but our beach sweeps data shows that that's not the case. Because although we're not publishing any trends from the 2022 to 2023 data, the numbers have remained low from 2022 to 2023. And with that, I will turn it over to Tony Grote, our South Jersey coordinator, for a call to action for this year's event. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Erica. Well, with all that great information about 2023 and how we do use our data and continue to use our data, I'm here to talk to you guys about joining us this year for beach sweeps and hopefully inviting others to join us as well next Saturday, on Saturday, April 13th from 9 to 12:30 at one of our over 80 sites all throughout the state, ranging as far north as Inglewood Cliffs down to Cape May and even around near Philly along the Delaware River. So we'd like to see you all out and volunteering and bringing friends and family and whoever else you can muster up to come help clean up the beaches. On the next slide. Thank you. To help us reduce our plastic trash bag usage, as well as reduce our plastic footprint in general, we ask that volunteers not only come prepared for the weather, whatever that might be, since it is rain or shine, but also bring some gloves. And if you can participate in our bucket brigade Cindy had mentioned, or as we also call it, the Bring Your Own Bucket or BYOB initiative, we encourage everyone to bring a bucket to the beach sweeps to help us reduce that plastic footprint. Starting this year, though, we're actually also providing commemorative stickers for the spring of 2024. So they'll kind of look like that picture there on the bucket. You'll get a sticker only if you do bring a bucket or reusable bag, repurposed container of sorts to collect trash. So you'll be able to hopefully collect those stickers throughout the year. So don't miss out on your chance to get one of those stickers and help us further reduce the waste we see on our beaches. Next slide, please. I also want to give a huge thanks to our beach captains, our junior beach captains, participating towns and the public works departments. You can see there that in 2023, we had 75 sites, and this year we have over 80. So the support for this program it's amazing and insane to see. So the collaborative efforts from all of the municipalities, people that from each of the towns, captains, junior captains, as I mentioned, that help provide this, volunteer effort, really, they're all volunteers, is something to be thankful for. It's also worth mentioning the valuable support we receive from Clean Communities and Sustainable Jersey. They help to facilitate the program as a way to meet their requirements for their program. So that truly speaks again to the multifaceted and collaborative efforts of beach sweeps, and we're lucky to have all of the continued supports from all of our volunteers. Now, I'd actually like to turn it over to one of those beach captains who's been with us for 15 years down in Wildwood. She became a captain back in college and now runs that site with her children and husband and extended family. I believe on the next slide, there's actually a picture of. So I will turn it over to Jessica Mumford now. And thank you guys for.
Hi, thanks so much. Like Tony said, I have been beach captain in Wildwood for 15 years. I started out in college and just kept doing it through life. And I'm just super blessed to be able to bring my 2 kids with me, and my family and their friends come. And like together with locals, we just are all enjoying nature and loving our environment. And more importantly, not just loving our environment, but doing something with that love. So there's a quote that I really love. I'm going to read to you. It says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." And that quote is by Margaret Mead. So I'm just really happy that I can be teaching my kids to do something with that love and to make a difference. And I'm super happy to be part of Clean Ocean Action, which is a group that does change the world. And we started here in New Jersey. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Oh my gosh, that warmed my heart. I want to thank you for your time today and everything in between. We're very grateful for everything you've done for COA over the many beautiful years as an inspiring beach captain, and will continue to do. So move on to thanking our sponsors from 2023 for their support with the beach sweeps. So we have our statewide, our county, and our state sponsors. And then here are our True Blue sponsors for 2024. Thanks everyone for your time again today, listening to each one of our COA staff members speak. I'm now going to turn the presentation back over to Cindy.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. That was phenomenal. And we'll now open it up for questions and from the press, if you have any. As you can see, there's a great amount of information. You should have the beach sweep report for you to look at, and you should also have a media alert, press release, sorry, for you to consider. And I see that we do have a question in the chat. I don't, Selena, did you want to speak, or do you want to, hi, was it 40% or 60% less volunteers this year? Swarna, do you want to take that one?
Yes, I just chatted up in the, to the
response.
question.
Okay.
Thanks, Selena. That was, good question. There were actually 60% lower turnout, so which means like 40% of volunteers, committed to, signed up for this year. So you can look at it both ways. So 60% lower turnout than last year.
Great. Dan, Kiki, do we have, yeah, great. There you go, Dan.
I just thought I'd just ask, I was just curious about the dinosaur. Well, a couple of things I was curious about, but the 1960 dinosaur, can you get any more specific about that? Like, how do you know it was from 1960?
You're up.
Yes, thanks, Dan. And I might have Kiki jump in on this because she worked with the volunteer that had submitted this, because this was actually our winner. We'll reveal a little something from the report. This was our winner from spring of last year. There was, correct me if I'm wrong, Kiki, there was a tag on the back of the dinosaur, and the volunteer Google, we have Google for everything, Googled this, and it came up as a match for the same 1960 dinosaur that was released during that year.
Do you know what type of dinosaur it was? Was it like a T-Rex? Was it like a Godzilla?
There's a picture of it on, what page is that picture on?
Page 11, yes.
All right, I'll have to look at that.
I'm not on my dinosaur game.
I think
I'm sure someone's looking for that. Like, oh man, I left my dinosaur.
Back in the 60s.
Oh, what was that? Been looking for it for 60 years.
Yeah.
Great question.
It's you just can't make it up, it's pretty fun stuff for sure. But none of it should be there, just to be clear.
Yes.
We don't want to find these things on the beach, but it does make it a bit of adds a bit of interest.
Right. And then just more specific questions, like a more serious question. When you talk about metal cans, we're talking about like an aluminum Coca-Cola soda can, stuff like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then lastly, on balloons, do you have like a specific balloon category? I mean, I haven't looked at the press release yet. It probably is in there. I'm just going by what you guys said, looking at your charts. Do you have something specific for balloons, or is that included with like plastic pieces or rubber?
No, we have a separate category that's balloons. It's 4 different subgroups.
Okay. All right.
You want to describe them? Go ahead, and I believe it's in rubber, right, Kira? And there's with strings, without strings, there's Mylar.
Okay.
Yes.
And latex.
That's all I had, guys.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
I have a question. Dino here with 115. Yes. Can
Great,
you hear me there?
Dino. Yeah, Dino.
Hi.
Go ahead. Hi, Dino. Yes, great.
Hello. Erica was talking about skip the stuff, and I was interested in the topic, but I was wondering, were you saying that there are municipalities that have their own rules? I think you said something like 160 local ordinances. I don't know if that was connected to skip the stuff or not. That's what it had to do with the online platforms needing you to opt in to getting utensils and things. I wanted to know if I couldn't tell if you were telling there was a local push already to do that.
There have been ordinances in a few towns so far. We're supporting Clean Water Action's work on that.
So a few towns have done it. I probably made the wrong connection. I heard you say a big number, but maybe it wasn't connected to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the 160 number came from.
All right.
know if that was my number. I don't think I said that, but it has been, these ordinances can also vary in what exactly they cover and how exactly they try to reduce the single-use utensils and condiments. So that is kind of a generalization. But we do have an ongoing campaign in several ordinances. I can get you more information on the specifics.
Sure, thanks.
I think there's also a state bill pending that for skip the stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Erica, do you know? Last year, and so it's being considered kind of the similar strategy in that with the plastic bags, right? It's many towns started passing ordinances to try to get some responsible practices with the plastic bags. Some towns banned styrofoam cups and containers and things, you know, to show the grassroots support for that kind of legislation to be a statewide level. So it's that's kind of where this effort is happening right now, is to move locally and show support for it so that we can hopefully get to a statewide law. And again, it's not banning these items, it's just trying to minimize the need and the use of them by, you know, having people request them. You know, a lot of takeout food you bring home and maybe you don't need those individual plastic packets of ketchup and whatever. So it's a proactive way to minimize.
Thank you. I had one more question. You may have covered this, but for the upcoming beach sweep, is that just you have your own stuff, just show up and tell us you're here, or you want to have advance notice that people are coming, like you sign up?
Well, that's a softball right over to Tony.
Yes, sorry, I think I might have forgotten to mention that. Yes, you need to register on our website, but if you want to show up the day of, there is option to register on the site as well. So we do ask that you bring your own bucket or repurposed container of sorts and gloves, but we also provide bags and gloves and stuff on site as well. So
Great, thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and the registration materials are English and Spanish this year.
right. So Dina, the reason for that is so that we can, you know, this is a snapshot, right? We encourage everybody every time they go to the beach to bring a bucket and collect debris. On this one day, we're asking people to show up where our fabulous beach captains are, and, you know, register and get that data card. Go out, collect the debris, collect the data, come back, give that information back to the beach captain, who totals it all up, you know, adds it all up, pulls together the highlights, and then returns all the data to Clean Ocean Action for us to, you know, pull together for this report. So it is a much more organized, but we don't want to discourage people from, you know, throughout the year on the other 363 days to go out there. But on these 2 days to go to the sites that are listed on the Beach Sweeps website and go to one of those locations so that they can be a part of this incredibly important and fun activity to help make sure that in the future, as Erica said, that we don't have to do beach sweeps anymore. We'd really just like to go to the beach and enjoy it rather than have to remove this unsightly and harmful litter.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Are there any other questions, or? We're just want to just thank the whole Clean Ocean Action team, and again, our extended family of the beach sweeps with our beach captains, our volunteers, the towns, the clean communities, the public works folks. I mean, it's really a massive collaboration, and we're really excited that we have, for the first time, over 80 locations. So it is growing, and you know, we'll see you next spring for the results of this beach sweeps data. But if everybody could just say a kind little word to Mother Nature about the weather, we'd really like to have a nice, good day for getting folks out there. Thanks so much. Anything else? Alrighty then. We'll see you on the 13th. Bye-bye, everyone.